ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we were on chapter 14 called Strength, and we just finished the section which was physical strength, and now we are starting the next section which is tests of mental strength, faith and perseverance. One of the tests of mental strength is faith and perseverance. Only a strong mind can have a firm faith. You must believe firmly, I am a being who can achieve something in the world of spirit. Success in spiritual life depends on our firmly and steadily holding on to the spiritual ideal. In the midst of all the confusion and darkness of the relative plane, we must hold on to a definite course of action, thinking, feeling, and willing. Otherwise, spiritual life comes to nothing. It often happens that many spiritual aspirants set out with great enthusiasm, but soon their fervor evaporates when they meet with various kinds of obstacles, mostly of their own making. Great tenacity of purpose is needed, as Swami Vivekananda always insisted on in the lives of his followers. Look at the lives of great prophets and saints. Look at the lives of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. What tremendous strength of mind, what gigantic will they possessed. We need something of their grit and determination in order to succeed in spiritual life. Even if we fail, we should never own defeat, never stop struggling. We fall down but rise again. Spiritual life is seldom smooth, rarely does it go in a straight line, but you should not make this an excuse for failing continually. If you persist in your struggles and listen to and learn to rise, after every fall, you will come to have great strength of mind and power of discrimination. So that was the section, tests of mental strength, faith and perseverance. Next section, ability to take decisions. The second test of mental strength is the ability to take firm decisions. Indecision is always a sign of mental weakness. It shows there are unresolved conflicts within you, and conflicts undermine the integrity of personality. If you remain in a state of indecision for a long time, instead of getting strength, we become weaker. To remain in a state of indecision and then try to make your mind strong is stupid. We must be very decisive in small things. Then we find it easier to take decisions about bigger things. Even the smallest thing in life is to be done consciously, intelligently, decisively, coordinating all the faculties, feeling, thinking, and willing. Cultivate good habits early in life. A well-regulated life is of great help. If we follow a strict routine every day, many of the little problems of life will not create indecision and worries. Then we get more energy and time for bigger things. Those who find it difficult to decide what to eat, what to wear, how to walk, how to sit, and so on, how can such people think about God constantly? We must not lie on the bed and go on thinking for half an hour. Shall I get up or not? Either get up immediately or sleep for another half an hour. But do not remain in an indecisive state. Shall I sit for meditation or not? Decide at once. Indecision is very harmful. Do your studies, meditation, work, etc. at regular times, whether you feel inclined or not. Let not the little things of life nag you constantly and dissipate your energies. Next section, ability to control even good thoughts. Strength is needed in controlling not only bad thoughts and impulses, but also good ones. For very often, we find that those who are not able to control their bad feelings and impulses, for very often we find that those who are not able to control their good feelings and impulses are not able to control their bad feelings and impulses either. Feelings, whether good or bad, need to be controlled. Our power to control them must be mastered, must be increased, and that is the most important thing. We should gain mastery over our feelings for be fully conscious and definite. If you are able to drive a good sentiment deep into our mind, it will color our very being. Good statements and good experiences must be retained within. If we give expression to them too frequently, we will lose their motive power. The driving power of a steam engine comes from the tremendous steam pressure. If the steam be let out too soon, there would not be any driving power left and the engine would refuse to move. The holy feelings and ideas that we gain from books, from contact with holy men, and also from our spiritual practices should be retained within until they affect the necessary transformation of character in us. That is why one is forbidden to tell either one's dream experiences or spiritual experiences. But generally people go on banding their so-called experiences. This is a sort of enjoyment which has not much to do with spiritual life. Those who are true spiritual aspirants are strong and self-controlled even regarding their spiritual emotions. They may be reserved outwardly but feel intensely within. If you're not able to manipulate a noble sentiment that suddenly arises in your mind, you will succumb to a bad impulse or sentiment the very moment it rises in you. First, create the capital with great doggedness and then spend the interest. First, you must possess a large amount of accumulated capital. Otherwise, if you spend the capital itself, you will end up in bankruptcy. Have tremendous feeling, but be a master of your feelings. Fearlessness. Another sign of mental strength is fearlessness. Sometimes much of our energy is lost through fear. We should not be too bold and think we are too secure, but the person who is always afraid of falling down is sure to fall, just as the person who is overconfident is sure to slip. As we go higher and higher, there is always the danger of our slipping and falling. But that is no reason for our being continually haunted by the fear of feeling. There is no security on the relative plane. God vision alone can grant us absolute fearlessness. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a passage. Now Janaka, you have attained fearlessness. This is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.2.4 and 4.4.22. Abhayam vai Janaka praptosi. This is the state of absolute fearlessness which one attains to after self-realization. The Upanishad identifies fearlessness with Brahman. Fearlessness indeed is Brahman. So this is again from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.25. Abhayam vai Brahma. Another Upanishad says, fear is produced in the person whenever he perceives duality. So this is from the Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7.1. Yada hi vaisha etasmin nudara mantaram kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati. Yada he vaisha etasmin nudara mantaram kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati. The more we realize our true self, the more we see the divine everywhere, and the more fearless we become. There is another kind of fear, the fear of other people. What will others think of me? Let others think whatever they like. If you are fully convinced that the path you have chosen is right, what does it matter if others say or think what does it matter if others say or think something about you? Never yield to others regarding principles which affect your whole life. Never lose the treasures of spiritual life for fear of petty-minded people. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you find the Master telling Narendra that one should take the criticism of others with as much indifference as an elephant has for the barking of puppies. So this is from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, published in 1974, page 8. Further, the Master says that as long as an aspirant has shame, hatred and fear, he cannot make spiritual progress. Again from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, page 661. It is impossible to satisfy all people. If some disagree with us, many will agree with us. Anyway, we have to do what we think is right, considering all points. Sometimes I go so far as to say that if a man tries to please everybody, there must be something wrong with him. If we try to reflect in us the glory of the divine, we will find other people changing their attitude towards us automatically. In dealing with others, we should try to maintain our own balance and at the same time try to do good to them or help them. We should be selfless, but we should be so strong that we convince others of our strength. Our attitude and strength should be such that others will not dare to take undue advantage of us. If we want to keep quiet when others do us an injustice or when they do something wrong, we must be strong. If we should retaliate, we should be strong. Strength is needed in both cases. But we must be so strong that others feel the strength, even if we do not hit back. There is a way of keeping quiet which makes the other person feel your strength and feel his wrong. He will not dare to take advantage of you again. We should make others feel our strength not through thoughtless or violent actions, but through our firmness and dignity. The world we live in is so bad and so impure that it will always try to take advantage of us if we are weak. So the first quality that an aspirant should develop is strength, real inner strength, a strength that will not own defeat. But remember this, you may have the strength of a giant, but you should not use it recklessly like a giant. Next section, non-violence. This brings us to another sign of strength, namely ahimsa or non-violence. If we practice non-violence out of cowardice, it is no merit at all. Real non-violence means the greatest strength and power of endurance that a man can attain to. It means the greatest courage coupled with the greatest love. It means total absence of hatred. That is what Krishna tried to teach Arjuna in the Gita. He exhorted him to do his duty, which in his case happened to be fighting, without hating others. Hatred is as bad as attachment. Anger is as bad as lust. Never make a mistake about this. When you lead the spiritual life, do not stand in anybody's way. Do not preach hatred or aversion against anybody, whoever he be. Do not try to elbow out others. Do not sacrifice others for the sake of your interests or in the interests of those who are dear to you. In the animal kingdom, struggle for existence may be necessary because there the law of survival of the fittest operates. But man is not an animal and should not behave like an animal. He must transcend the laws of the animal kingdom and try to reach the kingdom of God. In the kingdom of God, the law is love and sacrifice. The ideal of the spiritual man is to remain unaffected by attachment and hatred. He should have compassion and love for others. A spiritual man feels the miseries of other people more than they themselves do. He feels nothing but compassion even for those who behave arrogantly or violently. He always tried to help others, even at a great personal sacrifice. But he refuses to be drawn into worldliness in the name of compassion. He refuses to be used by others for their selfish interest. In this world, both the powers are working, Vidya Shakti and Avidya Shakti, the power of knowledge and the power of ignorance. The spiritual aspirant must open himself to the former but not to the latter. This may mean a certain amount of hissing, but he should not bite. So this is from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, pages 9 and 10. The reference here is to a well-known parable of Sri Ramakrishna about the snake which was taught to mend its ways by a holy man. Nor should he entertain feelings of hatred or revenge. He must be very alert about the forces playing all around him. True ahimsa is a high ideal. We must proceed step by step towards that ideal. The mind must be cleansed of all unclean thoughts and impulses. We can have real ahimsa only when we get some real spiritual experience. Ahimsa is a theory, and ahimsa as a theory and ahimsa as practice in one's own life are wide apart. In the Ishavasya Upanishad you read, when a person sees the self in all people and all people in the self, then he hates no one. So this is from the Ishavasya Upanishad, mantra number 6. Yastu sarvani bhutan yat manyevanu pashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanan tato na vijugupsate. There is a recurring idea in the Upanishads that self-realization is the basis of true ahimsa. When one realizes the self, one hates no one. But during the early stages of spiritual life, an aspirant must be extremely careful in dealing with others. In the name of ahimsa, he should not be too soft and yielding. People who are too soft and without any grit will find spiritual life very troublesome. There must be tremendous strength to face the evils of the world. Do not be soft or sentimental where your spiritual progress is involved. But we should be strict with ourselves too. We should remove from our mind all ideas of violence, anger and hatred. Sometimes we may outwardly put up with others, but burn within with indignation. That is extremely harmful. Practice non-violence within first. That increases mental strength. Only the strong can be violent. We'll stop here. Any questions or discussion, we can have it. Then we'll close.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, very good. Yeah, the next section is a long section, so I think we'll take it up next time. It's called Destructive Aspect of Truth. Okay, chant the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.